In 2006, on the 11th day of the 11th month, 11 people put their faith into a unique form of action by leaving the comfort of their homes in the United States for 1 week to work in a mission called El Ayudante, located on the outskirts of León, Nicaragua. It was a trip that would forever challenge their perspective on what it means to be a Christian. They went without knowing exactly what would be experienced or how God would use them in this place. But they went with the prayers and support of small groups and individuals in their church and home community.
My biggest concern going on this trip was the spiders and the bugs. I have major arachnophobia, and I was really concerned that the spiders would keep me up at night and keep me from doing a lot of things. And I saw one spider, and it was the first night, and it was in the shower, and that was when the power also went out, and I think I got over it at that point because I didn't have any other option but to accept the spiders. So my concern definitely didn't really affect me in any way after that first night. I just got used to it.
I decided to go to Nicaragua because I really felt that I could make a difference. It's something that I actually felt compelled to do for quite some time, going on a mission trip, but just didn't really have the opportunity. So when the church notified everybody that this trip was possibly coming together, I knew that I wanted to go. I attended the first meeting and really was sold on the idea right from the start.
When we were getting ready to go on this trip for 6 months, I guess it was, everybody kept asking me, are you concerned about anything? And I said, no, I want to do this, I'm going to do it, and I really don't have any fears. The truth of the matter was, I was afraid of everything.
Faith and prayers were rewarded. Fears disappeared, replaced by blessings. In one life-changing week, team members attended worship services in a new church built by a mission team, did construction work at the mission, painted an orphanage and an elementary school, worked at a neighborhood health clinic, and brought lunch and God's love to isolated rural school children.
There were a couple of experiences that I had in Nicaragua that really stick with me, and one of them was working in the clinic. There were so many women and lots of children waiting to get seen. There was only one physician. I found out that there's only about 20% of the people in Nicaragua actually get any kind of health care. When we went through a tour of the little clinic, the storage area that had the shelves with the medication and the supplies was almost bare.
One of our first projects was to actually take a large pile of dirt and move it from one end of the property to another via a pickup truck. And that was basically to lay down a subfloor that would eventually be tiled upon. Right. And we found that to be interesting because it's even though it was the fall season in Nicaragua, it was still quite warm out.
And we kept looking for the front end loader, but I don't know where it was. But we did manage to shovel a lot of dirt. Some people shoveled more on the rest of us than they did in the truck, but that was okay. We did get had nice cold showers that evening, so we were able to clean off all the dirt that was that missed the truck and landed on us. We did have a lot of fun, even though it was hard work.
The other thing was visiting the church that was actually started by Norcross United Methodis from Georgia, and it's a beautiful little church that they built. The people were so joyful, and there were lots of children again, and they had a Sunday school outside, which the children just seemed like they were so involved and so excited to be there, and that made a big impression on me also.
The mission of Hyde Park United Methodist Church is making God's love real, and a mission trip is a really tangible expression of God's love in a way that really makes a significant difference to people. The thing that most propels me is thinking about the words of Jesus in Matthew 25, where he says, "When you did it to the least of these, you did it unto me." And so I tried to go with an attitude of feeding the hungry and clothing the naked and visiting those that were sick, and recognizing that in each of those people, as we looked into their eyes, we looked into the eyes of Jesus. And it's a privilege to serve Jesus.
We've brought meals to children in impoverished rural schools and refugees living in a landfill, a junkyard, a dump, home to mountains of trash, swarms of flies, and hundreds of displaced Nicaraguans, their lives shredded by the ravages of war and greed.
We joined a church that goes there every week to provide a worship service and a meal for the folks who work there. And we really weren't prepared for everything that we saw and experienced there. The night before, we got the rice and the beans and the coffee and the oil, but I don't think that emotionally we were prepared for what we would experience. As we gathered there and joined the people already engaged in a worship service, we could sense that there was folks that this was a really meaningful time to come together and to sing God's praises and to share in the Bible story and to listen. I felt a little tap on my shoulder, and I looked over, and it was the baby that was playing with something, and she was holding it out to me to take. And so we played together there, and it was really great. And when it was time to get in line for the noon meal that they would be serving, I walked with the mom and her child over to get in the line, and there were hundreds of people there, a couple of hundred people easily, in this hot, stinky, nasty dump. And there we are, and people are kind of pushing and shoving over in the guys' line, and you're tired and hungry, and people started walking by with their plates of food and with their drinks, and the baby was sweaty and hot, and she was reaching out and saying, agua, agua, which means water, and she was asking her mom to get her some water, and the mom didn't have any water. And I just felt so helpless to know that this mother couldn't provide the most basic thing for her child, water.
To be there with her was a great experience. I would never believe it. If she came home and told me that she did it, I wouldn't believe her, because I know the way my mom is, but she actually took a step of faith. And to be there with her doing that was so much fun, because she actually got to experience part of the joy of living and what we have here on earth that we can enjoy.
The saddest irony was that not 50 feet from where the landfill dwellers congregate to receive the word and a warm meal was an abandoned prison and torture chamber, a relic from the Somoza era that sits as a silent reminder of the horror that the poor and disenfranchised have endured over the last 50 years.
I think one of the things I really got out of this trip was the mission group that we were going to has a orphanage there, and it was fun visiting with the little kids. And even though we couldn't converse with them and talk to them other than to say hola and a few very basic words, they all understand the meaning of love and comfort, and especially as a man, because most of them do not have a male figure in their life. And so,
Right.
so I know one evening we were over there, and one of the little girls just sat on my lap, and I rocked her probably for 15 or 20 minutes. She talked to me the whole time. I have no idea what she said, but I could see in her eyes and in her smile and in her heart that she was just comforted, having somebody there that she could talk to. It was a lot of fun. I definitely got a lot out of that.
My favorite part of the mission trip was the bond that I established with a young boy named Ezekiel. Ezekiel's been at El Ayudante for about 6 months, and his mother actually had sent him out of the house, and he was roaming the streets and was picked up and brought to the facility. And when he was brought in, he was not in good condition. The time that I had with him was very special. We had a lot of fun together, and I remember my last day at El Ayudante, he was at the orphanage facility, and he came running over to the fence. Was just so happy to see me, and I was so happy to see him. And it was really difficult because I knew I was going to be leaving. It was tough to leave. It was tough to say goodbye to Ezekiel, but I hope and I know that at some point I will see him again.
In the end, this one-week mission trip did more than feed a few poor Nicaraguans. It opened the eyes and hearts of 11 people, some of whom had never seen poverty in such a raw and profound way. It was the trip that will forever challenge their perspective on what it means to be a Christian.
Would I go on this trip again in a flash? I would do it again. I know that you can prepare all you want, but nothing's going to turn out exactly like you thought. And that's even the best part of it. You think you're all prepared, and you get there, and things change. And, I think they always change for the better. Every day was a new experience. We didn't know what we were doing, and I found myself kind of getting excited about, I don't know what the next day is going to bring, but I know it's going to be good. I know no matter what, it's going to be good. And I do look forward to going back.
I would do it again in a heartbeat. I would go back, definitely, without a doubt.
It was very interesting to go down there and actually do work, have fun, know that we did something that was very productive and worthwhile for the group that we were working with. So.
Our theme for Advent was Be the Gift, and we tried to express that it's important not just to give a gift, but to actually invest yourself and become the gift. And that's what our team was able to do this year when we were in Nicaragua. And I know that many of you are watching this and thinking, that's good for them, but forget about it for me. I want to encourage you to really prayerfully consider it and realize that God can do so much through you and in you and with you as you become the gift to other folks. And you'll see that it's a reciprocal relationship. You're going to receive as much as you give. And it's really not dangerous or scary or hard at all. It's really a very rewarding experience.
In 2006, on the 11th day of the 11th month, 11 people put their faith into a unique form of action by leaving the comfort of their homes in the United States for 1 week to work in a mission called El Ayudante. It was a trip that would forever challenge their perspective on what it means to be a Christian.